This episode is going to be so serious and so real and so raw. Fuck. No, today we will be talking about One Direction. And if you're unfamiliar, welcome to Don't Mind the Mess. My name is Jan. I am your host here. And this is just a podcast where I talk about what's going on in my brain right now. And I mentioned in my last episode that I would be talking about One Direction this episode. So here we are. If you know me, let me put it this way. To know me is to know One Direction. Okay? Let me just be very, very clear. I started liking them in like 20. In fact, let me check. Let me do a quick fact check. So it's probably like 2011 / 2012. I was not there for the X Factor days, but I was there right after. And I continue to be there. All right. And let's make something clear. Just because you were there for the X Factor days does not make you better than me, babes. It doesn't. It doesn't make you better than me. I feel like that's a strong thing in like fan culture, is because I've been here longer, I'm better than you. No, you're not. Like, that's just not the case. We are on equal playing ground because we are all sitting at home and listening to music, and then hopefully one day going to a concert. And of course, if you're delusional like me, as a teenage girl, you're also imagining them taking you backstage. What I would have done in that scenario? Nothing. I would have just sat there and looked stupid. So I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, half of us sit at home and try to imagine these things. But here we are. But more in particular, the One Direction fandom, I feel like these days it's fine because there's not as many of us, and most of us are adults. But back then, it was very toxic. Toxic, I feel like, is a soft way of explaining it. I feel like my biggest issue with the One Direction fandom then and now is that people, I know Zayn left, okay? A Zayn fan here. Hello. Very much so. Supported him leaving. Support him now. People act like because Zayn left, he was never in there. And I hope everyone watched like the most recent interview Louis did. I forget who it was with, but if you just look up Louis interview right now, it should come up. I think it's labeled as like a One Direction tell all, but he didn't tell me much. I don't already know. Okay. Louis knew something was changing. People were moving funny. Things were changing. And Zayn noticed it and he left because of that. Deals and everything, things were changing, and that was very obvious. And this is no offense, but the things that were changing were Harry Styles. Okay? Like, let's be so for real. And Harry has every right to do that. That is fine. But Zayn left to pursue his solo music career because things were looking fishy. Zayn has said that before. And now we act like Zayn isn't in One Direction ever. Like, I see people post like One Direction and it's only OT4. You're only posting Louis, Niall, Liam, and Harry. And you guys know One Direction would not be what it was without Zayn. Because who was going to hit those notes? Who was going to hit them? Liam? Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Who else is going to hit those notes? Oh, okay. It's real quiet in the room right now that I've said that. And I feel like I don't think I would have been a big fan as One Direction without Zayn. Like, he's actually kind of funny in a way. Just like mannerisms and things like that. Like, from the outside looking in, it's like big goofy nerd with like this exterior that's just pretty to look at. And you know what? Those are claps. Kudos for him. But I feel like that's my biggest gripe, is that people act like he was never there. And I feel like that is very lame of people to do. I can just talk more about One Direction. Individually, their careers are great. Obviously, together is better, but obviously I feel like we have lost that opportunity to ever have a reunion, and I am 100% okay with that as an adult. I don't ever need to see One Direction make another song again in my life. The only thing I would like them to do is release, what's the song? Oh, she's so mean, but I gotta love her, and I just can't let her go. Just can't let her go. I think that's the name of the song. It was a leaked One Direction song. Hey, if we could just get that song, please. And I mean in the big year of 2025, and we're almost in 2026. Can I get that song, please? And you know what? Leave the computer noise in there too. I'm a computer noise stan for that, okay? Yes, computer noise 100%. I need that in the song for it to be legit. Um, but I had a question in my mind pop up yesterday. And I mean, there were other fandoms on Tumblr, dun dun dun, 2013, 14, 15, 16, maybe even 17 Tumblr. There were other fandoms out there, right? But would Direction be as big as it was if it wasn't for Tumblr, or vice versa? Would Tumblr not be as big as it is without One Direction, or would One Direction not be as big as it is without Tumblr? I feel like that is like what came first, the chicken or the egg type conversation that I'm trying to have with you. Um, um, it ran my life. Okay. I said in my last episode that I even scheduled like posts to go up while I was at school. And I said Q and I, if you are unfamiliar with One Direction's You and I, that is a song that they sing. And I used to come up with like the coolest like little catchphrases for my Tumblr. So Q and I was one of them. So like Q as in queued up posts. So like I would put like a post to go up every hour while I was at school to keep my followers, because I just thought the whole world needed to know or see this picture of One Direction while I was at school. And nothing else could, there's nothing else that could compare from the content that I was putting out there, which was just repost, by the way. Very rarely did I make like my own individual post with my own creativity, because I don't know how to edit 90% of things that people were doing back then. But yeah, I put cues up while I was at school. Each boy had their own hashtag. So that way, if you wanted to only look at that boy, you could. So I feel like running a Tumblr in the One Direction world was like having like a part-time job, honestly. So like I would come home from school every day. I'd log on to tumblr.com from my little phone in my room, and I would scroll through photos of them, repost, schedule. I'd be like, oh, I can't repost this because it doesn't fit my theme. And it's never been that serious. And I don't know, it was just such a time. Resume. It was such a time to be alive. I feel like it was just so funny. I give everything to that era and time of my life because it's how I met my best friend in high school. Love them down. And without One Direction, I don't think we would have gotten to know each other. One Direction is not our relationship, but it is the first step for our relationship that we built. That's way more than that. And honestly, it's a beautiful thing. Just at the time, a bunch of girls getting together, enjoying boys sing on stage and being goofy and stupid. And you know what? I'm going to say it. That's the American dream. I hope one day, if I choose to have children, and if that child is, a girl, I would want them to eventually, fall in love with a boy band. I feel like that's just the natural progression of life. This is about One Direction, but there are plenty of other boy bands. Like, I'm a Jonas Brothers fan, and Jonas Brothers came before One Direction, babes. And I feel like that's like my millennial peeking out, like my infant millennial, elder Gen Zer peeking out is Nick Jonas. Hello. No, I love the Jonas Brothers first. That was like my first boy band. Maybe not my first. I think B2K may have been my first boy band that I liked. My sister was a B2K fan, and so obviously she's my older sister, so it falls in my lap to also enjoy B2K. But Jonas Brothers was my first boy band that I loved. No, I don't know NSYNC, and no, I know very little Backstreet Boys. Like I said, infant millennial. The Jonas Brothers and then B2K was like the start of it all. Anything before that, yeah, unfortunately, out of my hands. Okay, I'm too young. Um, but one I never got into, but I like some of the songs, was Mindless Behavior. Like, I feel like that was also an era, especially for little black girls, to see little black boys on stage. I feel like that was definitely a time to be alive. I was not the biggest fan, but I was, bobbing along to the music as well. If there was a boy band out there, I was here for it. But I feel like while Jonas Brothers, I did have my initial obsession over, um, One Direction was really the one that took off in my mind. I feel like I spent a majority of my teenage years enjoying. So like I was like 18 in 2015. So 15, 14, 13, 12, we'll say 12. So 18, 17, 16. So like 15 to like 18, like that was it. And I'm like, the older part of their target audience, I feel like boy band target audience is like preteen tween girls. So like 12 and 13 and 14. I feel like those are the primary ages. So I feel like I was a little bit above it, but I don't know. I still had a good time. I had a wonderful time, in fact. I said in my last, podcast, I wrote fan fiction. Hello. I had a good time. I did everything you could think of, except for, hack the security cameras and stuff like that. The stuff that I feel like made the community toxic was like the racism, the constant hacking of security cameras, like Just Can't Let Her Go. Oh my God, that was the name of the song I was singing earlier. Just Can't Let Her Go. That was also a toxic thing because that is an unreleased song. So, how we got a hold of that, the world may never know. And then just like the community around them, like thinking that this, at this point, One Direction's, the person closest to me in age is Harry, and he's still, I don't remember his birth year anymore, but closest to age to me, and I'm defending them with my life. Please know, at this big age right now, it's going to take a lot for me to defend anyone, let alone a man, with my life. I don't do that much anymore because I'm an adult. But I mean, I watched 1D Day, shout out 1D Day, the craziest production ever put on, the most unorganized production ever put on, shout out to 1D Day. If you don't know, 1D Day was an 8-hour broadcast. I don't even know if it was 8 hours or not. Maybe it was 6, but it was an all-day event. And I invited my closest friends over to my home, and we watched 1D Day, and my mom made us snacks because my mom was always so supportive and so loving. Even with things she didn't understand, she would always talk about them little white boys, as I feel every Black Directioner felt at some point. Your mom calling them those little white boys is just a canon event. It's unavoidable. Do you guys remember Mr. X? Mr. X was a time to be alive. And it's so crazy to think about now because we were a bunch of, teenage or younger girls, primarily, not all of us, but primarily. And we literally thought this random person was going to kill One Direction in front of us at one of the concerts. Like, is that not like a crazy concept to like wrap your head around? Like, oh yeah, this guy, he's going to blow up this, boy band that travels the world all the time. He's going to blow them up in front of us. Like, there were people legitimately like crying online about this. Like, they were devastated. They thought like these boys were, I don't know. I don't even remember what was going to happen. I don't know if they're going to blow it up or if they're going to shoot them. I don't know. But definitely terroristic threats were happening and we were all at home shaking in our boots. um oh, what, oh hey, to the Larry fans, this isn't a safe space for you. I've allowed space in my heart for one Larry, and that's it. This is not a safe place for you. You ruined them boys' friendships. For what? For what? Like, it's still so mind-boggling. Like, to this day, like 2025, there are still Larry accusations. These are grown men with children. Well, at least Louis is, and you guys are still going. Like, no. Like, okay, I will say some things, some images, like some still images, some videos even, you you might pull that from the back of your mind, but it's never been like these two boys are in love. Like, they just couldn't be friends, and that's so insane to me. And obviously, like, I know a Larry, okay? Like, I know a Larry. And so we've talked about how, like, a lot of, like, the Larry Stylinson fans were actually older women. Like, women older than One Direction, which is fine because now I'm 28 and I do enjoy K-pop here and there. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a little music, okay? Nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with, I feel like, if I were to ship these two young men together and I was like 35 and they're like in their 20s, I think that might be a little odd. And I don't mean like, oh, they would look so cute together, or do they look, yeah, they look kind of cute together. Like, I feel like that's fine to say, but to accuse them constantly and honestly harass them, telling them that they're in love, is kind of insane. For the tipping point for me was when Louis had his son and people were talking bad about the baby. And I feel like even on Tumblr, like, I posted like, hey guys, it's a baby. Like, let's not be weird about a child. And you know what? I hope Louis and his son are doing amazing, wonderful. I was not a Louis fan in the One Direction times. And you know what? There was probably some point where I was vocal about not liking Louis. It's whatever. I don't even remember 100% why I didn't like Louis. I don't know if he said something or did something. Life moves on, and he's a celebrity, and he's not thinking about me. So, and it turns out I actually have like more emotionally in common and just so much in common with Louis that I don't even feel bad. Like, as a One Direction fan, I had Louis blocked. Like, that's how real it was. I was like, I don't want to see updates about him. I don't want to know about him. I don't want to know what he's doing. And then I want to say it was probably like a year after One Direction announced their separation, I unblocked him. And I don't know, I feel like I understand him, and I feel like I get him, which is not in like a parasocial way. Let's be very for real. But I feel like I misunderstood Louis for all those years. And that's fine, because guess what? Again, I'm a random woman in Oklahoma. Louis doesn't have to be concerned with me, okay? At all. But yeah, and now I feel like I can enjoy their music and like actually appreciate it as an adult. Obviously, as a teenager, like, I was obsessed. Like, I was a person who was on Spotify playing the music on low all night to get the streams up. That was me. That was me. That was me bad. Okay. And for the record, like, for liking One Direction, I feel like Harry's a gateway drug. So I liked Harry from the beginning, and then slowly it formed into, okay, I think I don't like Harry as much, and I think I like everyone else more except for Louis. And so that's kind of what it became. So, like, I honestly don't know who's tied for like first place for my favorite member of One Direction. It's honestly a 3-way tie between Niall, Zayn, and Liam. I feel like Liam may just move like a little bit lower than them, just because I loved how goofy and fun Niall's persona was. And Zayn is, of course, a brown man in a band full of white people and full of white fans. And so I understood like some of the things that may have been swept under the rug. Like, I saw a TikTok the other day, and it's when they were talking to Piers Morgan. They just kept saying, "You have a gun tattooed on you. You have a gun tattooed on you. What makes you want to do that?" And he's like, "It's a water gun. Like, it's a gun." Or like all the times they accused like Zayn of being part of terroristic groups. I feel like that was very wrong. As soon as Zayn left One Direction, like all the Islamophobia came out. No, cut that. I feel like after Zayn left One Direction, like all of the, people who don't like anyone brown, let me just be specific. Let me be honest. Don't like anyone brown. They just came out of the woodworks to just like bully Zayn. And I feel like that's kind of crazy, to be honest. I remember being at school, and I remember when, was it Naughty Boy? That's not a deep cut though. Is it Naughty Boy? Naughty Boy, it was like working with Zayn. They posted a picture in the studio, and Zayn and Louis were beefing. And I remember like being like the only person on Zayn's side. And I feel like maybe my frontal lobe was like developing at that point. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But I feel like I was going against the grain, because I was like, I don't care what you all say, I'm supporting Zayn. Like, Louis hurt, obviously, and that's why he's lashing out. And Zayn is also hurt, and that's why he's lashing out. Like, I'm able to recognize that. But I was also able to recognize that Zayn was doing his own thing. Pillow talk dropped, and it was crickets. It was silence. And guess what? I Don't Want to Live Forever with Taylor Swift drop. Oh, the Harrys were mad. And it was such a good day. And that's one of the things I've said is I like to argue online with people. Like, I was mean, and it's not okay that I did that, but I've accepted that. And, any repercussions from that, whatever. But it's just so insane. Like, it's actually crazy that happened. Ugh. Like, every time I think about One Direction, I feel like a new memory shows up. Like, and I did see them in concert, by the way. I saw them in concert. They came to Oklahoma, and I did see them. Yes, I'm the person who now, I guess, because I'm on TikTok, there's all those videos where it's like, I was born as a teenager in 2025, but I was meant to be a teenager in like 2014. Let me tell you something. You wouldn't have made it, babes. You wouldn't have made it. You wouldn't have lasted a day in my shoes, okay? One, because I would have pushed you out of them and yelled at you, okay? I would have called you every name in the book. I would have talked out the side of my mouth, okay, about One Direction. You weren't built for it. And I'm not saying, the younger generation is so soft. No. Because, you know what? If you'd have said something crazy to me, I probably would have said something to get me canceled, okay? I probably have before. Okay, and I have to accept that my younger self was just a little demon, all right? But yeah, now I don't really care what One Direction does. I mean, obviously, I follow all of them on social media. I think I even follow Louis now, so, growth and change happens. It just happens later in life. But yeah, Niall is doing his thing. I think he's coming out with a country record. So if Niall makes that country shift, I mean, obviously I will not be listening. I am not a country fan. I just live in Oklahoma. I don't breathe Oklahoma air, okay? But yeah, and then there's obviously Liam, may he rest in peace. I'm not here to speak ill of the dead, but I did enjoy some of his music, before his passing. And I wish nothing but light, joy, and happiness to little Bear. That I don't want to talk about that topic too much, just because, the 1-year anniversary just passed, and it might be a little emotional for me. So we're just going to walk right around that topic. Of course, proud of Zayn, always. The residency is coming up. Unfortunately, I don't have tickets. Of course I don't. Also, side topic, I'm kind of over concert culture. I love concerts. Love concerts down, okay? I used to go to like 3 or 4 a year. I love concerts. I used to travel out of town just to go to them. I know that's not crazy, but I would travel like 4 hours there, go to the concert, stay in that hotel, and drive 4 hours back. And I think even one time my mom drove me to a concert, because I've seen 5 Seconds of Summer 3 times. Have I seen it 3 times? Opening for One Direction, I saw them in Oklahoma. I saw them in Texas. I think it's just 3 times I've seen 5 Seconds of Summer. But yeah, I used to do crazy stuff to go to concerts. But they would announce the tour dates, and then like a month later, tickets would go on sale. We're announcing like concerts on Monday, and tickets are on sale on Thursday. In this economy, in this economy, in the inflation shrinksation of it all, you want me to come up with $400 to $500 in 4 days? Who do you think your audience is? And you know what? Some of you are falling for it, and some of you are buying tickets. Like, I get it, because I just fought for Beyonce tickets earlier this year. Shout out to B, love Cowboy Carter, yeah. But yeah, concert culture is just so insane now. I feel like they just can charge whatever they want. Like, and it depends on the person, honestly. Like, and just like it would for you to purchase a ticket, it depends on the artist. But like, if I'm paying $400 or $500 for tickets, you better be putting on a show. Unless you're Adele. That is like my one person who, if I had everything in the world and I could see Adele, because I love Adele, down. And, if I could, if and when, she went on tour again, which, please, like, I know she hates it, but just do another residency then. Do something, sis. Like, when the world needs you most, you vanish. I promise. That is someone who I would pay the extra money to watch her stand on stage and sing, because she's so good at it. Most of the pop girlies, most of the not R&B girls. I say the R&B girlies are pretty good. They just need to learn how to put on a show. Rap girlies, they don't tend to have issues most of the. Well, let me not lie. But I feel like if let me just say, if I'm paying like hundreds of dollars for your concert, I want to see you do something, not just stand up there and lip sync, because you will piss me off. Like I feel like every time Lady Gaga puts on a show, also love Lady Gaga, Dion, every time she puts on a show, it's a show. Like, she's singing live, she's dancing, she's doing backflips, she's flying through the air, she's doing all these things. She gets the money. She gets the money, babes. If I'm paying like $250, $300, even $400 in this economy, and you're standing up there lip singing, and the only thing moving is maybe 3 backup dancers, give me my money back. Give me my money back, because you just pissed me off. Give it back right now. Like, oh my God, I can't even. I don't think I've been to a concert though in a while that was like that, because I feel like as a teenager, I could, and like a young adult, I could like go see anybody for any reason. Like, I saw Tori Kelly. Shout out Tori Kelly. I only know one Tori Kelly song, but I saw Tori Kelly. Also James Bay. Shout out James Bay. I only know one James Bay song, but I went to a full concert for James Bay. Out of town concert for James Bay. Shout out 30 Seconds to Mars. I don't know a single song by 30 Seconds to Mars. Not only did I go to the concert, but I got on stage with Jared Leto. Okay. Shout out Muse. I know one Muse song. I saw Muse live, babes. I saw him live, okay? Like, younger me would go see anybody for any reason. Adult me, like, the music's already loud enough. I am 28, stuck in like a 78-year-old body. Like, the music is already so loud. What else are we doing? Like, when I go to concerts, it gives me headaches the next day because the music is so loud. Like, it hurts my brain. But I feel like I went on tangent a little bit about concerts, but I saw One Direction in concert at one point, and I had a great time. That was a concert that, one, I didn't pay for. Shout out to my friend at the time. And honestly, still have so much love for you. There's no bad blood or anything, but their grandma paid for our tickets to go, and I will be forever grateful for that. That was an amazing time, and their grandmother was an amazing person. Yeah, that turned a little sad, but all great, all fun, all games around here. This episode was a little light, but I think that's all I have to say about it. Because like, this podcast literally is me brain dumping as words come to my mind. So I don't know if I have anything extra to add other than can't wait for Zayn's new album. So excited. when I think Zayn said it because Zayn was streaming that day, and I only got to watch I didn't get to watch Zayn live. I got to watch clips of Zayn, and I think someone uploaded the full stream. But anyway, um, mentioned that like this next album is like Mind of Mine too, and I want you all to know that Mind of Mine by Zayn Malik has no skips. Has no skips. And I know what you're thinking. I love Lucozade. Okay, I love that song. Don't do that. Okay, there are no skips on Mind of Mine. And to think that there could be a sequel to that blows my mind. I have Mind of Mine on CD, vinyl, and the whole album saved on my Spotify in case I get disconnected from Wi-Fi. It is a safe album for me, okay? That, Mind of Mine, and Art Pop, okay, are safe albums for me to listen to at any time. Also, the soundtrack to A Star Is Born is also a safe soundtrack for me. Just thought I'd throw that in there for you. I think that's everything I have to say about that topic right now. So that concludes this episode of Don't Mind the Mess. If you do want to, you can always subscribe. Again, this podcast is living on YouTube right now until I figure out other avenues, but for right now, it lives here. So yes, the podcast lives on YouTube, but if you want to follow me on any socials, you can find me at Simmer, SIMMER _Jan, GAN. You can find me on TikTok. I'm not calling it X. You can find me on Twitter. But yeah, you can find me anywhere using that username. And if you want to, please leave a comment about, your history with One Direction or even concerts, because I went on my little tangent about concerts for a minute there. But yeah, just leave a comment. I would love to have a discussion with anyone and everyone. Yeah. So I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Bye.